Karen and Sarah attending, Mike?
Karen will not be attending today. But Sarah, I see her name's up. We just
Sarah's on. I can't, I won't be able to join video. I ended up having to do some field work and I'm not presentable.
Karen will not be attending today. But Sarah, her name's up.
Sarah's on. I won't be able to join video. I ended up having to do some field work and I'm not presentable.
Sarah's audio today.
Sarah's on.
Are we good to go, Chris?
Yeah, 1 second here. I'm sorry. I got to embed the link real quick. We'll be ready. All right, we're good.
Okay. So I would like to call to order the Morgantown Utility Board emergency meeting for Wednesday, April 7th, 2021 at 4 p.m. I have public portion. If anybody's got anything for me to read into the record, let me know. If not,
No, sir. No one's contacted us.
okay. So then we'll just move into the crux of the meeting, which is the employee health insurance for the upcoming year.
Okay. Well,
Go ahead. Mike.
thank you. Back in February, we discussed the idea of going into or participating with the West Virginia Public Employees Insurance Agency as a mechanism that would we could purchase healthcare insurance for our employees at a much more affordable price and pass those savings on to the employees as well as our ratepayers. Well, we were working with the staff members of PIA. We became aware of a Senate Bill 398, which will limit the eligibility of certain employers from participating in PIA. And that would be us as a non-state member. We would not be able to join and take advantage of those savings. And so this bill 398, as it's working its way through the legislature, yesterday in the House Finance Committee, the bill was amended. And that amendment effectively says that once the bill is passed, that you're cut off of joining at that point. And so after consulting with our attorney, Jeff Ray, we felt like that this meets the criteria of an emergency meeting for the board and that we could go ahead and hold the meeting today and the board could approve for MUB to enter into the agreement with PEIA and we could continue to move forward to obtain that health insurance at a much more affordable cost than we can today.
Okay, now we've worked out what the premiums would be at this point. Do we have all that information or are we just at the point of making this decision?
No, we do know what the premiums would be.
Okay.
Yes, and Debbie has has done extensive work on going through the policy and comparing the numbers to the current plan we have today and to PEIA.
And as far as we know at this point, we would be given all the same privileges and provisions that exist, or are we going to be treated separately?
They would be the same.
Okay, and this also provides for retiree healthcare coverage.
Retirees can purchase the healthcare coverage, but it will not be at a subsidized rate. There is a retiree rate that's published in their literature.
Okay. And as far as we know at this point, it does not require that everybody be enrolled, actively enrolled. We're just talking about having agreed to participate.
I'm sorry, could you ask that question again, please?
My concern is there a provision that not only would we have signed the agreement, but we would have already enrolled our employees? Will there be a limitation on enrollment?
when I spoke to the representative, originally we would have to have our employees enrolled by the middle of May. And I will assume if we get our paperwork in and it's accepted, and assuming that we can participate, that they would want us to get our employees enrolled before the 1st of May. It would become effective May 1st.
Okay, but there's no provision as far as we know it in the legislation that's proposed that addresses the enrollment issue.
Not that I'm aware of. And Jeff, you can speak to that if you know more about it.
The legislation essentially says that you have to be participating by the effective date of the legislation. So, our position will be by signing the contract, we will be participating as of the date that we sign the contract.
Okay.
There was nothing about enrollment of employees in the legislation.
So we are expecting participation to be enrolled, to be having signed the agreement not to have our employees actively enrolled. I'm concerned about the technicality here
Well,
because
I'm
the
sorry.
whole point is to keep us from doing this or anyone else because of reimbursements in the healthcare systems. And this is an excellent plan. I have to say I can't imagine that we would find anything cheaper because it's subsidized by state taxpayers.
The way we've looked at it is if we don't sign a contract before the legislation is passed, we're certainly out. So
No, I agree. I just wondered if there was any further discussion about actually having to have our employees actively enrolled by that date. And you're saying no.
Well, again, the legislation just uses the term participating.
Okay.
Our position will be by signing the contract, we're participating. There's
Okay.
nothing in the legislation that requires all the employees to be enrolled.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. If we decide maybe to sign this with an effective date of April 1, would we have to make a contribution to the plan before we get all the employees enrolled, at least the employer share contribution?
I don't see anything where we would be making any financial contributions until folks are enrolled.
And the second question is, how much will we be saving as on the part of MUB if we enter into the PEIA contract?
Tom, I think that right now we're estimating it'll be approximately $700,000.
And that's $700,000 annually that we would save,
Yes,
absent any future increases that PEIA might impose on us.
that is correct.
And that's the cost saving that accrues basically to our ratepayers, in that without that cost saving, we might have to increase rates in the future by a larger amount than what we might reasonably project with that cost savings.
That is correct.
Now, I will say that due to labor issues with the teachers in this state, PEIA has had frozen rates now for 2 years. I'm not sure, but I think maybe now it's 3 years, and there will be an increase in the not too distant future. To what extent, I don't know. I don't know that the subsidy will be reduced either, but we can anticipate that.
I think we can absolutely anticipate there will be increases. But our benchmark would be what the plan we have today for the fiscal year we're in. And so, I think as long as we remain at or below that benchmark, we're still ahead. And
Yeah.
so are ratepayers. And so as long as we have, those numbers to show us, if we get to the point where, that benchmark, we've exceeded that benchmark, then obviously I think it's time to go back out to the market. But it is a 3-year obligation, which I honestly just couldn't see rates increasing that much in 3 years.
No, I think Good option. It's a good option. I just, yeah, why not?
Well, absent any federal legislation that increases the subsidies that are provided to individuals or shifts the Medicare for all to a lower age qualification, I think you're going to see all medical insurance going to continue its upward climb simply because of increasing medical costs.
Mhm.
Okay.
I have a question. Would we, after 3 years, will we be cut out of the option of doing this again? Or because we're signing up now, we'll be able to reapply, even though MUB wouldn't qualify anymore with the current legislation?
Good question.
I don't know that it directly affects the decision now. I mean, I think a 3-year good deal is still good. I was just curious if that kind of grandfathers us in.
Yeah, there's nothing in the legislation that would prevent us from, renewing after 3 years, Sarah.
Okay, great.
Are there other utilities, municipalities, or county commissions that are members of PEIA at the present time?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
There are approximately 650 non-state entities that are members of PEIA.
So we're not going to be unique.
Far from
No, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And the city of Morgantown is not? Is that correct?
I do not know. I don't know who their healthcare is.
I was told they are not PEIA. I don't know that for a fact. My contacts tell me that the city of Morgantown is not PEIA, though in our conversation, I believe we were told that they were.
I think, I don't believe they are, but and we've had conversations that they were considering going to PEIA.
As I recall, they were self-funded, which blew me away, but yeah, I would imagine if they could get into PEIA, they would consider it.
Well, you would think they would be considered, they wouldn't be considered state, that's city, right? So, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Is the county, Montague County Commission covered by PEIA?
No.
Well, then I think we need to decide yes, right away.
Yeah, I see, assuming that all the, Barbara, you know as well as any of us, that the coverage seems to be fine, the program's fine. I can't see, from our perspective, too many negative aspects of it, if any.
The only thing is the unknown future, and Tom's right. The prices of healthcare coverage are going to go up until we restructure it. So as long as we've got the option to go back to the market, which is the best thing we can do, that'd be the normal thing to do.
And I think, we have to take an action on behalf of our ratepayers. And as I understand, our employees will benefit from this conversion as well.
Mhm.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Are there any plans right now for beginning the enrollment process to communicate to the employees and share what the advantages would be?
Yes, we have already put a memo out to all of our employees about moving to PEIA and information that will be needed. Debbie took care of that a few weeks ago, just to
Okay.
get them started. So, getting enrolled will be a little fast and furious, but I have all the confidence in the world that we can get it done quickly.
Okay, good.
Okay. So if there's additional conversation, fine. If not, then we can look for a motion.
Gosh, I don't have it in front of me.
I move to contract with the West Virginia Public Employees Insurance Agency to provide health insurance to the employees of the Morgantown Utility Board and to authorize the general manager to execute all contracts and other documents related thereto to be effective as of April 1, 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to contract with West Virginia PEIA for MUB health insurance to be effective April 1, 2021. Questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous passage? So the motion passes.
Great.
Okay,
Good job.
good job. Nice work, Mike, Deb. Any other conversation, Mike, or,
No, sir, not this evening.
okay,
And our next meeting is next week, correct?
Yes, next Tuesday evening.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
So move to adjourn.
I so move.
So moved. Thank you all. Have a good